Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another broadcast of The Weekly with me, Neff. Please subscribe to the channel and share this video with a couple friends. We are trying to reach 500 subscriptions, and every subscription helps us out a bunch. This article today is breaking news, WOR, from Jordan Ruby, and it reads, 28 years later, trailer will be releasing next week. Poster has been released as well. Cillian Murphy is not listed as an actor on the front of the poster. Apparently, it doesn't mean he's not going to be in the film. Obviously, Cillian Murphy is going to be a part of this film. I've done a couple videos on 28 Years Later on my catalog. Go check those out. But yes, Cillian is going to be in the film. But interesting enough, he is not named on the poster, which is kind of odd. But I know he has a minor role, but still, Cillian Murphy is going to be one of the center points for this franchise moving forward. So whether or not he has a big role or a small role, to me, it'd be interesting that he is not even mentioned on this poster. But with everything being said there, ladies and gentlemen, let's read into this article. We have an update, obviously, in this article. Let's read into it. It looks like the trailer for 28 Years Later is indeed ready. I'm being told to expect it sometime next week. Earlier reported, last we heard, Danny Boyle's 28 Years Later, which cost $75 million to produce, was shot on an iPhone 15. I actually have a video for that, guys, so check that out in the catalog. This would make it the priciest film ever to be shot on a smartphone. Boyle was aided by his go-to cinematographer, Anthony Dodd Mantle. We now have a poster for the film below, which means there's a small chance we might get a trailer for it before the year is done. It should be noted that Cillian Murphy's name does not appear on the poster, and this parallels with what we had previously heard. Murphy, who starred in the original, is said to have a very small role in the film. Nia DaCosta's follow-up, titled 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, will again have Murphy in a small role, but the third one, still not shot, is when the actor becomes the lead again. Plot details have been kept a secret up until now. Ralph Fiennes, who plays a good doctor in 28 Years, recently told IndieWire's Ann Thompson that the film actually centers on a young boy. This is a quote: "Britain is 28 years into this terrible plague of infected people who are violent, rabid humans with a few pockets of uninfected communities, and it centers on a young boy who wants to find a doctor to help his dying mother. He leads his mother through this beautiful northern English terrain, but of course, around them, hiding in forests and hills and woods, are the infected. But he finds a doctor who is a man we might think is going to be weird and odd, but actually is a force for good." Principal photography for 28 Years Later wrapped in August, and the cast and crew had to sign NDAs not to reveal much about the film, let alone that it was shot on an iPhone. 28 Years Later is set to star Jodie Comer, Ralph Fiennes, and Charlie Hunnam. It's also set up to be theatrically released on June 20th, 2025, so you're going to get some horror in there on your June of 2025, guys. Let's see how everything unravels with this film. I do believe we will be getting that trailer next week. We will just have to wait and see. We've called a couple of trailer releases in recent memory. We talked about Mission Impossible 8 releasing on November 11th. That trailer did release on November 11th. So it looks like 28 Years Later is on the clock. Let's see what next week brings us. Guys, are you interested in this film? Once again, another sequel. We talked about sequels in Hollywood, and this one is quite a bit out from the originals that came out before it. And I shouldn't say originals, because you do have the original and then you have the sequel to that one. But you guys understand what I am saying with this one. We are getting a sequel, maybe a soft reboot to something that has been around for over 20 years now, and you're getting it with a gap in time between that second 28 weeks